Yo, what's good guys? It's the Theslykrow creeping in with another video. And so we have here the Persona 3 Reload expansion pass controversy, and a lot of people seem to be upset about the way Atlus is handling the DLCs. And so this was shown in the Xbox third-party event. The first two offerings are mainly just for OST customizations and the cosmetic upgrades. But the main meat of the DLC is most likely going to be the Aegis story DLC that's going to be happening on the September. And on the topic of studios swindling their customer base, this practice has actually been going on for quite a while now. The most recent example that made me pretty upset was Tales of Arise, and the fact that Tales of Arise had just so many DLCs that made it seem like a single player MMO. They had the DLCs where you can buy in-game currency like 100k gold. If you want 100k gold, you gotta pay some money for the DLC for that. And if you want to buy XP boosters, you can do that here also. And it's just like, yo, I'm not here to play a MMO game in my single player RPG. You know what I'm saying? It's just a very poor practice in my opinion. And apparently Atlus has been doing this for a long time here. I remember playing Shin Megami Tensei 5, and this was a really good game, but the fact that it had day one DLCs where you can buy certain metamas that spawn more in the world, and basically these metamas give you extra EXP. Some metamas give you specific currency that you can only buy from certain vendors. And there were other DLCs that happened day one with Shin Megami Tensei as well, where you have the side missions that are only available on the DLC. There's personas. Actually, in Shin Megami, it's actually not called personas, but it's like these demons are only available with the DLC. And so basically my whole shtick is that, I'm not here to play a mobile game disguised as a AAA experience. I'm paying $70 day one, and on top of that I gotta pay mobile game prices for DLCs. What are we doing here, fam? And it's you can't just cut content like this, and for a single player RPG to feel like a MMO, it's just not a good way to go about it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, with the Atlus controversy here, this is just another way of Atlus milking their Persona popularity. And apparently we have a lot of people upset on this Reddit forum. And so someone on Reddit had actually found out that the developer on Twitter has actually apparently finished the game in late 2022. And so someone pulled up the developer tweet, and so the developer says here, the announced expansion pass is the only one planned for this title. This is content that was planned and completed before Persona 3 Reload was released. And apparently this was a common strategy among other Sega games as well, purposely cutting content from the main game and offering DLC as a way of marketing the game in the future stages of the game. And I feel like this practice is good for fighting games, but for single player games, I feel like this is just a horrible practice, and a lot of people on the Reddit forum seem to disagree with this practice. So we have a comment here from Brandon Spikes, and he sums up many of the arguments that people are complaining about. And he says, there is no way, the answer isn't finished. I'm assuming the answer is also one of the planned DLCs in the future, maybe a Wave 2 DLC. So he says here, the answer isn't finished already, and they purposely removed it from the game to start it later. It's way too polished and has voice acting done already. Persona 3 Reload was finished years ago, and the DLC was purposely sold later on despite it already being finished. And so this seems to be a common sentiment in the forums, with people disagreeing with Atlus's DLC practices. And oddly enough, there's actually been a few Atlus supporters in this thread, and it seems to be that people have been converted to Atlus's practices right now. So we have a comment here from Buzz Crash Boy, and he says, I mean, if you buy any Atlus game day one, you're buying the incomplete version of the game. It's been that way since Persona 2. Persona 3 Reload being a remake doesn't make it exempt from that. and they'll probably do a female MC at some point too for another purchase. But this man's the customary Atlus converter right here, and it's just like, how can you defend a company like this when the full game doesn't even have all of the content that you're expecting for? And he says he's a Persona fan since Persona 2, and like the fact that this man's not even complaining about any of these practices is just wild to me, man. So yeah, guys, I just wanted to talk a bit about this topic here, and it's definitely a practice that I don't want to see more of in the future. I do hope that Sega and Bandai Namco can change their practices, but we'll see what happens in the future. And let me ask y'all this, man. How do y'all feel about DLCs in video games right now? Do you like the current state of how companies are pushing the DLCs? Let me know in the comments down below. And this is your boy, Theslykrow, signing off. Catch y'all in the next one. Peace.